Amelia stood in the bustling cafe, her heart aflutter. It had been weeks since the final episode of Hearts Aflame aired, revealing the shocking truth that she had uncovered, and the world had been captivated by the scandal. Now, as the buzz around the show waned, she found herself facing an unexpected dilemma. In the corner of the cafe, Amelia spotted a familiar face. It was Lisa, her editor, who had encouraged her to pursue the story in the first place. Lisa looked up from her latte and greeted Amelia with a warm smile. "Amelia, it's good to see you. How have you been holding up?" Amelia hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to answer. Her career had taken an unexpected turn after the exposé on Hearts Aflame, and she was still adjusting to the newfound attention. "I've been busy," she finally replied, a hint of uncertainty in her voice. Lisa leaned in, her expression serious. "Look, I know it hasn't been easy for you, but your work made a difference. The world needed to know the truth about that show." Amelia nodded, her gratitude for Lisa's unwavering support evident in her eyes. "I just never expected things to change so drastically," she admitted, her voice tinged with vulnerability. The cafe buzzed with activity around them, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions swirling within Amelia. She had uncovered the truth, but at a cost. Her relationship with Daniel had suffered in the aftermath, and she wondered if she could ever find a way to reconcile her professional pursuits with her personal desires. Lisa reached out and squeezed Amelia's hand. "You'll figure it out, Amelia. Sometimes the biggest stories come with the toughest choices. But remember, you're not alone in this. We're here to support you." Amelia managed a small smile, her doubts momentarily put at ease. With the encouragement of her editor, she knew she had the strength to navigate the challenges ahead. Amelia stood on the balcony of the Hearts Aflame mansion, her heart a whirlwind of emotions. The evening sun cast a warm glow on the sprawling garden below, where contestants laughed and mingled. She was surrounded by the glitz and glamour of the reality dating show, but her thoughts were anything but carefree. Lucas, the charming musician, had been persistent in his pursuit. He leaned in, flashing a disarming smile that made her pulse quicken. "Amelia, you look stunning tonight," he whispered, his voice a seductive melody. Amelia's smile was polite, but her mind wandered. She had entered this competition undercover, with a mission to expose the unethical practices of Hearts Aflame. But the charismatic Daniel, the enigmatic bachelor, had managed to slip past her defenses. Every moment spent with him stirred a longing that she struggled to ignore. As the evening unfolded, tension simmered between contestants. Sarah, the aspiring chef, shot icy glares in Amelia's direction, clearly threatened by her connection with Daniel. In a hushed exchange with James, the confident tech entrepreneur, Sarah voiced her concern. "Amelia's got her sights set on Daniel, and it's not just for the roses," she muttered. Amelia overheard the conversation, and a pang of guilt washed over her. She was inadvertently causing rifts among her fellow contestants, and it was a weight she wasn't sure she could bear. Her mission was crucial, but the line between investigative journalist and love-struck contestant had blurred. The night continued with the glamorous introduction ceremony, a parade of dazzling gowns and heartfelt speeches. As the spotlight turned on Amelia, she felt the intensity of the moment. Her heart pounded as she approached Daniel, the attraction between them palpable. Their brief exchange was a dance of words and unspoken desires. Every stolen glance, every teasing remark, deepened the connection that she had promised herself she wouldn't allow. Amelia knew that this path was fraught with peril, but in the warmth of that sweet evening, the pull of her feelings for Daniel was undeniable. The garden was a canvas of vibrant colors, bathed in the soft golden light of the setting sun. As Amelia and Daniel sat on the secluded garden bench, the tranquility of the surroundings contrasted with the turmoil in her heart. Their conversation had meandered from art to life's aspirations, and it was impossible to ignore the undercurrent of attraction that pulsed between them. Daniel's deep voice resonated in the tranquil garden. "You know, Amelia, There's something about creating art together that reveals a person's true self. Amelia's heart raced as she met his gaze, her feelings laid bare for a fleeting moment. "It's like peeling back the layers of a person's soul," she whispered, her fingers brushing a fallen petal from her lap. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves overhead, and for a moment the world seemed to disappear. But as the sun dipped lower, reality intruded. Amelia's mission to uncover the unethical practices of hearts aflame loomed over her, casting a shadow on the budding connection between her and Daniel. As the date ended and they rejoined the other contestants, Amelia couldn't shake the internal conflict that gnawed at her. She had fallen deeper into her role as a contestant, making it increasingly difficult to balance her journalistic duty with her growing affection for Daniel. Later that night, in the contestant lounge, drama unfolded. Amelia found herself at the center of a confrontation with Sarah, whose jealousy over her connection with Daniel had reached a boiling point. The other contestants watched, their eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and unease. As the heated exchange continued, Amelia's inner turmoil intensified. She couldn't reveal her true motives or the mission she was on, and it left her feeling vulnerable and isolated. The conflicting emotions of love, duty, and the desire to fit in with her fellow contestants weighed heavy on her heart, making her question how long she could maintain the facade. The mansion's balcony, bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, became a sanctuary for Amelia and Daniel. Away from the camera's watchful eye and the buzz of the other contestants, they found a tranquil space where their connection could flourish. As they settled into the comfortable wicker chairs, the night air held a touch of warmth, matched by the growing warmth of their feelings for each other. Daniel's eyes, pools of darkness reflecting the night sky, locked onto Amelia's. "This place is different at night, isn't it?" he mused, his voice soft and filled with an unspoken longing. Amelia felt her heart flutter at his words. She understood the sentiment, the sense of vulnerability that came with the quiet of the night. "It's like a world of its own," she replied, her gaze shifting to the stars above, silently mirroring the intricate dance of emotions within her. Their conversation grew intimate as they shared stories of their past, dreams for the future, and the insecurities that lingered in their hearts. Daniel revealed the pressures that came with being the bachelor, the constant scrutiny, and the challenge of forming authentic connections in the unique environment of Hearts Aflame. His words resonated with Amelia, who understood the duality of her own situation as an undercover journalist grappling with the authenticity of her emotions. As the night deepened, their bond tightened. It was a connection that transcended the confines of the mansion, something neither had expected to find in such an unconventional setting. The unspoken tension between them simmered, the awareness of their growing feelings hanging in the air like a sweet, forbidden fragrance. The moon cast a silvery sheen on the balcony, illuminating their unspoken desires. In that moment, as they locked eyes and shared a rare intimacy, the world beyond the mansion seemed to fade into insignificance. The magnetic pull between Amelia and Daniel was undeniable, and the sweet yet complex nature of their connection left them both entranced and conflicted. Amelia sat on the edge of her bed in her hearts aflame bedroom, the morning light filtering through the sheer curtains. Her journal lay open on her lap, its blank pages waiting to soak up her innermost thoughts. It had become her refuge, a place where she could wrestle with the growing turmoil within her. Her pen moved with hesitance across the paper, capturing the essence of her inner conflict. She wrote about her mission, her journalistic duty to uncover the unethical practices of the reality dating show, and the ever-expanding void between truth and her feelings for Daniel. "I find myself standing at a crossroads," she scribbled, her words a reflection of the deep emotional conflict that swirled within her. The page absorbed her doubts, the weight of the choices she'd made, and the unexpected connection she'd formed with Daniel. The pen paused, as if unsure how to continue. The day wore on, and tensions among the contestants intensified. Sarah's jealousy and anger had reached a boiling point, leading to a fiery confrontation in the contestant lounge. Accusations and heated words were hurled, and Amelia was forced to defend herself without revealing the true mission that consumed her. Amelia found a moment of solace as the sun dipped below the horizon, and she joined Daniel in the rose garden. Their conversation turned emotional as they discussed the recent conflicts. Daniel's gentle encouragement tugged at her heart. "Stay true to yourself, Amelia," he implored, his gaze filled with concern and affection. As the chapter concluded, Amelia sat in the confessional room, her vulnerability laid bare for the camera. She confessed her inner turmoil, the intricate web of emotions that had woven around her heart. It was a pivotal moment, a raw and genuine glimpse into the complexity of her feelings for Daniel and the challenge of maintaining her mission. The world beyond the mansion would soon bear witness to her journey, and the choices she faced were becoming increasingly impossible to navigate. Amelia entered her hearts aflame bedroom, the echoes of the heated confrontations still ringing in her ears. She felt a tidal wave of emotions crashing over her, leaving her in a state of inner turmoil. As she closed the door behind her, she couldn't shake the lingering tension from the argument with Sarah. The room was a sanctuary, a place where she could let her guard down. She paced the floor, grappling with the emotional fallout of the accusation that had been hurled at her. The weight of her dual role, as both an undercover journalist and a contestant genuinely falling for Daniel, had reached a breaking point. Amelia's internal struggle intensified as she questioned the decision to infiltrate Hearts Aflame. Her journal lay open on her desk, the empty pages beckoning her to spill her unfiltered thoughts and fears. She reached for her pen, its ink an outlet for the whirlwind of emotions within her. "I'm in the midst of a storm," she wrote, her hand trembling as she put her feelings into words. The journal absorbed her doubts, her guilt over the impact her presence was having on her fellow contestants, and the complex web of emotions she had become entangled in. As the contestants and producers gathered in the garden, anticipation hung thick in the air. Reporters and cameras poised to capture the moment, and Amelia took center stage, her heart pounding. Her speech was a revelation, her voice steady and unwavering as she exposed the manipulation, the secrecy, and the deceit that had plagued Hearts Aflame. Amelia's words flowed with a mixture of conviction and vulnerability. She held the evidence in her hands, the documents that laid bare the unethical practices. The atmosphere was charged with tension, and as she spoke, the shockwaves of her revelation reverberated through the garden. Gasps of disbelief rippled through the crowd, and some contestants watched in stunned silence, while others exchanged uneasy glances. The emotional stakes had reached their zenith as Amelia delivered the truth she had fought so hard to uncover. Her duty to journalism had met her yearning for integrity and authenticity. She could feel the weight of her revelation, not just in the documents she presented, but in the eyes of the people she had come to know over the course of the competition. After the press conference, in the hushed ambience of the mansion's library, Daniel sought a private moment with Amelia. He was a swirl of emotions, grappling with the truth she had exposed and the impact on their relationship. Their conversation was a heartfelt exchange, a culmination of their journey together and the uncertainty of what lay ahead. It was a poignant and intimate moment where the sweet and complicated nature of their connection was illuminated by the unveiling of truth. The morning after the explosive press conference, the Hearts Aflame contestant lounge was a battleground of emotions. Amelia's revelation had sparked a firestorm of reactions. Some contestants supported her, acknowledging the importance of truth and integrity. Others, however, felt a sense of betrayal, viewing her as a disruptor of the carefully crafted reality they had come to accept. Amelia, sitting in a corner of the lounge, watched the conversations unfold. Emma, her steadfast ally, had her arm around her, offering silent support. The contestants' voices blended into a cacophony of disbelief, anger, and uncertainty. The lingering tension was palpable, and the air was thick with unease. The reality of what Amelia had unveiled was settling in, challenging the contestants' perceptions of the show and its credibility. As the morning wore on, candid discussions about the future of Hearts Aflame unfolded, adding layers of complexity to the relationships within the mansion. In the afternoon, behind closed doors, the producers gathered in the control room. The scandal had put the show's reputation on the line, and they grappled with damage control. Tensions were high as they contemplated how to navigate the aftermath of Amelia's revelation. Their decisions in the coming days would determine the fate of Hearts Aflame. As evening descended, the mansion was hushed, with the rose ceremony looming. In his suite, Daniel grappled with a pivotal decision. The recent events, including Amelia's revelation, had left him with an emotional burden. He contemplated the impact of his choices on the remaining contestants, aware that his heart was divided by the revelations and the relationships he had formed. Meanwhile, in the moonlit garden, Amelia sought solace. Her revelation had set in motion a whirlwind of change, both for herself and the show. She contemplated the choices that lay ahead, the mission she had set out to complete, and the evolving feelings she had for Daniel. The conflict within her was reaching its zenith, and the moon above watched in silence as she prepared for the resolution of her journey and the new beginnings that awaited. Amelia stood in the grand ballroom of the Hearts Aflame mansion, surrounded by the soft glow of dimmed chandeliers. The final rose ceremony was a culmination of the weeks of intense emotion and heart-wrenching decisions. It was a moment when everything seemed to hang in the balance. Daniel, the charismatic bachelor at the center of it all, faced a room filled with expectant contestants, each holding their breath in anticipation. The atmosphere was charged with tension and unspoken words as he held the power to change the course of their lives with a single choice. Amelia, clad in a gown that shimmered like moonlight, stood among the remaining contestants. Her heart was a tumultuous sea of emotions, her feelings for Daniel a storm she had navigated throughout her journey. She knew that her confession, her revelation about her undercover mission, was a risk. It could alter the path they had walked together, but she couldn't continue to withhold the truth. As the rose ceremony progressed, with each rose offered, the contestants' fates were sealed, and the emotional stakes heightened. Amelia's eyes remained fixed on Daniel, her resolve unwavering. When it was her turn to receive a rose, her heart skipped a beat. This was her moment, the culmination of her mission, and the moment of reckoning for her feelings. Amelia took a deep breath, and as Daniel extended the rose toward her, she seized the opportunity. Her voice trembled with raw emotion as she confessed her true mission, the revelation that had been hidden for so long. Her heartfelt words hung in the air, a truth laid bare for all to witness. The room fell into a heavy silence, the reality of her confession sinking in. The emotional stakes were at their zenith, and the choices Daniel had to make would not only decide the fate of the contestants, but also the course of his own heart. The grand ballroom held its breath, waiting for the resolution of this complex and profound journey. Morning sunlight filtered through the curtains of Amelia's Hearts Aflame bedroom, casting a soft glow on the room. The air was heavy with the aftermath of the final rose ceremony. It had been a night of revelations, confessions, and choices, and now, as the new day dawned, the mansion buzzed with the consequences of those actions. Amelia sat on the edge of her bed, her fingers tracing the petals of a red rose that lay on her nightstand. She had received a rose, but the confession she had made still weighed on her heart. The consequences of her revelation were tangible in the way her fellow contestants interacted, some with understanding, others with judgment. Emma, her loyal confidant, had chosen to seek solace in the mansion's garden. It was a sanctuary of blooms and greenery, a place where she could grapple with the choices ahead. The emotional landscape of the garden mirrored her inner turmoil as she contemplated her own future in the wake of Amelia's confession. Amelia's journal lay open on her lap, her pen poised above the pages. Her journal had been a silent witness to her journey, capturing the highs and lows of her time on Hearts Aflame. As she began to write, her thoughts spilled onto the paper, a raw reflection of the tumultuous events of the past night. Her inner conflict and the choices she faced were laid bare in the inked words, her strong verbs and vivid descriptions bringing her emotions to life. The mansion was a tapestry of emotions, threads of understanding, conflict, and forgiveness weaving through the contestants' interactions. The journey was far from over, and as the sun continued its ascent in the sky, the contestants and Daniel gathered once more in the moonlit garden for a final and heart-wrenching decision. The emotional stakes were at their zenith as they navigated the aftermath of revelations, confronted their feelings, and grappled with the choices that would chart the course of their futures.